Welcome to the channel, welcome back to the channel. I'm Andrew Wolfe, and today we're going to be talking about Boulder, Colorado. Very specifically the question, can I afford to live in Boulder, Colorado? And let's be honest about it, right? Boulder is expensive. It's not a cheap city to live in, and the median home prices are going to be higher on average than they are in the whole country, and even higher than they are here in our great state of Colorado. So the average single family home in Boulder right now is going to be about $1.1 million. There's a lot of reasons why that happens. First of all, you're going to see not a ton of availability, right? So there's less homes on the market in Boulder than average, and there's a couple reasons for that. First of all, people love living there, right? So they tend not to move around too much. They tend not to list their home once they live there. They tend to stick around for a while. So that limited inventory is going to have the price be higher. They're also not building a ton of new inventory, right? So there's very strict zoning laws and other things that put in place by the city of Boulder and the county of Boulder to keep their communities small, right? They also don't want to impact the beautiful nature all around us. One of the big reasons why people love to live in Boulder. So the limited inventory and the limit of expansion inventories could be one of the reasons why you see that median home price stay up there. It's also going to be one of the median reasons why you see homes go a little quicker than they do on average throughout the rest of the state. So homes sell faster, there's less in the market, they're building less. Those issues combined are going to be one of the reasons why we see an elevated price point in Boulder and why it's a little bit harder to get into there for a lower price. All right, so in addition to buying, rent is going to be a little more expensive as well. Depending on where you're at in the state, rent's going to be 30 to even as high as 50% more expensive on average than it is throughout the rest of the state of Colorado. Now, it's not all bad news. You're going to see taxes be lower on average than they are throughout the rest of the country. Colorado has relatively low property taxes. That said, there's going to be other things about living in Boulder that are going to be a little more expensive, kind of your cost of living expenses, groceries, gas, just different programs like that are going to be a little bit higher priced there. The cost to just kind of move around and enjoy restaurants and bars and things like that might be a little bit elevated than you're going to see on average throughout the country and on certain parts of Colorado. So everything's just a little bit notched up with the exception of taxes, which are going to be a little bit lower than you might expect to see in other places in the country. Okay, so another cost to consider is going to be transportation. So you're going to see maybe a little bit higher cost for gas as you kind of head into Denver for work if you want to. You're going to see a little bit more of a time on the road, a little windshield time there. It's the average time into Denver is probably 30 to 40 minutes. Very similar travel time out at the airport at DIA, probably 30 to 40 minutes or so. So transportation can be a bit of a bear if you're trying to commute to Denver every day for work. That said, commuting in and around the city of Boulder is pretty darn easy. It's not too much of a high traffic, high density area, and the public transit system there is pretty easy to work through. They have a great bus system called the Hop, the Skip, and the Jump that gets you around town. So commuting around Boulder is pretty easy. If you're heading to Denver, you're just going to plan a little bit more ahead for travel time, and obviously you're going to have some costs related to gas and just maintaining your vehicle and all that kind of stuff. All right, guys, so it's not all bad news, though. So Boulder has a very, very healthy job market, particularly as it relates to tech, education, and healthcare. They're all going to pay above average salaries for those fields here in Boulder, and we're going to have one of the lowest unemployment rates in the whole state of Colorado. So people here tend to work. There's also a lot of remote workers here. So if you are a person who works remotely and you don't have to go into the office every day, Boulder is going to be a really, really great choice for you because you can take advantage of all the lovely scenery around us, the higher than average pay, the easy commute around the city, and not having to deal with going to Denver or traveling to DIA or really kind of getting in your car at all, obviously, other than to enjoy the beautiful nature all around us. And on that subject, guys, so when you kind of pay that higher price tag to move to Boulder to buy your house here, you're buying more than just a place to live, right? So one of the things I always say to clients is, the house is a really great thing to focus on. You want to have the right number of bedrooms, the right layout, the right living domicile for yourself and your family. But beyond that, we want to make sure that the lifestyle aligns with what we want. That's what you're going to live with every single day. And Boulder just has lifestyle perks aplenty. Whether it's hiking, biking, riding, easy to get to the mountains for skiing, easy to go out fly fishing, easy to commute into the city of Denver if you do want to get into a sporting event or see a show or take advantage of some of the eateries down there, though Boulder has great restaurants itself, including some Michelin star places to grab some grub. So it's really easy to take advantage of the lifestyle there, and you're getting that as a part of your purchase agreement to buy your home in the beautiful city of Boulder. So make sure you're thinking about not just the cost of the home, but also the lifestyle perks you get from living there as well. All right, and if you want to access some of that great lifestyle, but you want to avoid the Boulder price tag here, there are some really great opportunities to live in some nearby neighborhoods and nearby cities that are going to be just a few minutes from downtown Boulder, but aren't going to quite have that same elevated price point that Boulder has. So Louisville, Superior. There's some great opportunities there to get into a house a little less expensive, but still obviously have great, awesome access to the city of Boulder and the beautiful nature all around us. So if you want to take advantage of that Boulder lifestyle, you're willing to drive into the city a little bit, you want to looking for a little bit lower price tag, some of those surrounding neighborhoods and surrounding cities can be a really great opportunity to do so. Okay guys, now let's talk about the numbers, right? So financing now is going to be more important than ever. As you guys have seen, on average, the mortgage rates people are paying have increased a little bit over the last couple of years, but they are moving in the right direction now. They're moving down a little bit, getting more palatable and easier for consumers to engage with. So you're really going to make sure you partner well with your lender to understand to get the best deal you can up front, and then work well with your agent, because there's opportunities now generally to try to negotiate for seller concessions that can help with temporarily or permanently buying down that mortgage rate. You can look to refi as mortgage rates tend to adjust back down in the future, hopefully, fingers crossed. All right guys, and it's also, so as we talked about this kind of increased price tag from living in Boulder and the lifestyle perks, it's important to kind of balance all that with the financial considerations. So financing right now is going to be more important than ever. We've seen mortgage rates tend to travel up over the last couple of years, but we are seeing them now move in the right direction for us consumers. We're seeing them go down. So they're becoming to be more palatable. And there's still opportunities out there on the negotiation side with your realtor to try to get some of those seller concessions right now, and then, temporarily or even permanently in some circumstances, buy those mortgage rates down even further. So it's going to be really important to have a great relationship with your agent, but also with your lender, and create that whole team aspect so they can go put together the best total package for yourself, because we want to factor in just the house costs, but also all of the lifestyle expenses we talked about that you may want to take part in it because you're living in a Boulder. So let's not move here for no reason. Let's not move here without a plan. Let's make sure we're factoring all that in. All right, guys, and while we're talking numbers and finances, I think it would be remiss of me as an agent to not point out that, yes, Boulder's expensive to get into, but it has one of the strongest performing markets over time. So you've seen kind of in recent years here, some markets balance, even some markets go down as mortgage rates have increased and some buyers have pulled out of the market. We haven't really seen that in Boulder. Boulder's continued to move up and to the right for the last several decades here. So properties tend to appreciate here and tend to hold their value for much longer. So it is a great long-term investment to get into a single family home here in Boulder and to kind of make that leap and make that financial commitment in order to reap the benefits in the long run. So if you are a long-term minded investor and the Boulder lifestyle appeals to you anyway, it's a great place to plant your family. It's a great place to see your money grow over time, and I think you're gonna be very happy in the long run. So again, can you afford to live in Boulder? There's a lot to consider. But if lifestyle is very important to you, if you're a remote worker or you don't mind driving into Denver, or you work in Boulder itself, I would say, can you afford not to move here? It is one of the most beautiful places in the whole country. And to have all these great lifestyle perks in addition to the gorgeous nature all around you and the long-term investment you're gonna see returning from investing in Boulder for your home, I think it's a worthwhile investment. I think you really can't afford not to. So again, I'm Andrew Wolfe here. It's great to talk to you guys again. I really appreciate everything you do, taking your time to hear from me today. So I love making these videos, but I love even more connecting in person. So take your time, give me a call, give me a text, give me an email, whatever your best communication is. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll get right back to you. Have a great day.